Hey there! Alright, you guys know I love a good adventure, I mean who doesn't? And this time we're talking about Switzerland. This place is like the love child of a postcard and a storybook. We're talking majestic mountains, crystal clear lakes and more chocolate than you can shake a hiking stick at. We're diving deep into the top 10 places you absolutely have to visit in Switzerland. We're talking bucket list stuff, people. The kind of places that'll make your Instagram explode and your friends back home green with envy. Get your passports ready, charge your cameras, and for goodness sake, pack your stretchy pants. Things are about to get seriously epic. First up, we're hitting up Interlaken. This place is like the adventure capital of Switzerland. I'm talking heart-stopping bungee jumping, whitewater rafting that'll leave you soaked, in more ways than one, and paragliding that'll have you soaring with the eagles. But hold up. It's not all extreme sports and adrenaline rushes here. Interlaken is nestled right between two stunning lakes, Lake Thun and Lake Brienz. Think crystal clear water, surrounded by those epic snow-capped mountains. Take a boat trip, rent a kayak, or just chill by the shore and soak it all in. Now let's talk about the important stuff. Food, specifically cheese. Interlaken is in the heart of cheese country, people. We're talking fondue, raclette, and all sorts of cheesy goodness that'll have you saying, "Diet? What diet?" And listen up because this is important. When in Interlaken, you have to try the raclette. It's basically a giant wheel of cheese, melted to perfection and scraped onto your plate. Pair it with some potatoes, pickles, and maybe a glass of local wine, and you're in for a culinary experience you won't forget. Next stop, Lausanne, home to the International Olympic Committee. This city breathes sports. We're talking Olympic museums, stadiums, and enough sporting history to make your head spin. But even if you're like me, and your idea of a marathon involves Netflix and a comfy couch, Lausanne has something for you. This city is perched on the shores of Lake Geneva, with breathtaking views that'll make you want to grab your camera and start snapping. And speaking of views, Lausanne knows how to do lakeside living right. Stroll along the Ouchy waterfront, grab a coffee at a charming cafe, and soak in that Mediterranean vibe. Fun fact, Lausanne was a favorite haunt of literary giants like Lord Byron and Ernest Hemingway. Who knows, maybe you'll get inspired to write your own masterpiece while you're here. Just make sure to fuel up on some delicious Swiss chocolate first, you know, for inspiration. Alright guys, Geneva. This place is like where sophistication went on vacation and decided never to come back. I mean, we're talking about a city where the United Nations hangs out, literally. You can practically feel the brainpower radiating from the buildings. And speaking of buildings, have you ever seen so many parks in a city? They call Geneva the city of parks for a reason. And let me tell you, Central Park wishes it had this much green space. We're talking lush, vibrant, makes you want to lie down and stare at the clouds kind of parks. You could get lost in here for days, and honestly, with views like this, you might just want to. But hey, if you can tear yourself away from the greenery, there's plenty more to see. We're talking about the Cathedral of St. Pierre, a seriously old church where John Calvin, you know, the Reformation guy, used to preach. History buffs, eat your heart out. And if churches aren't your thing, no worries, you can always rent a bike, soak up the sun, and cruise along Lake Geneva. It's the kind of place that makes you want to slow down, take a deep breath, and just enjoy the moment. Now let's talk about Lake Geneva for a second. This ain't your average pond, alright? This thing is huge, crystal clear, and surrounded by mountains that'll make your jaw drop. It's the kind of view that makes you want to break out into song. And hey, if you're feeling adventurous, maybe even a little yodeling. Just kidding, please don't yodel. Unless you're really good. In which case, by all means, serenade the Swiss Alps for me. But seriously, Lake Geneva is the perfect place to just chill out, rent a boat, soak up the sun, and maybe work on your tan. And speaking of chilling out, can we talk about Swiss chocolate for a second? Because Geneva is basically chocolate heaven. We're talking rich, decadent, melt-in-your-mouth goodness. Trust me, you haven't lived until you've tried Swiss chocolate overlooking Lake Geneva. So yeah, Geneva, it's got it all: history, culture, stunning scenery, and enough chocolate to satisfy your wildest cravings. What more could you ask for? Okay, Zurich. This city is like the cool kid in school. Effortlessly stylish, smart, and always down for a good time. World-class museums, buzzing nightlife, and art galleries galore. Over 50 museums and 100 art galleries. Overflowing with culture. More culture per capita than anywhere. It's like walking into a giant history book, but way more fun. You could spend weeks here and still not see everything. Zurich isn't all highbrow stuff. It knows how to let loose too. Nightlife scene that's off the hook, with clubs and bars for every taste. Just try not to peak too early, alright? We've got a lot more ground to cover. And if you need a break from the city buzz, no problem. Zurich is surrounded by stunning natural beauty. Hop on a boat and cruise around Lake Zurich, or lace up your hiking boots and hit the trails in the nearby mountains. Trust me, the views are worth the effort. Speaking of views, let's talk about the Swiss National Museum for a second. This place looks like it was designed by the Brothers Grimm themselves. We're talking turrets, towers, and enough fairy tale vibes to make you believe in magic again. It's the kind of place where you half expect to see a dragon perched on the roof. But hey, even if dragons aren't your thing, the museum is still worth a visit. Inside, you'll find a treasure trove of Swiss history and culture, from ancient artifacts to modern art. It's a crash course in all things Switzerland, and trust me, it's way more interesting than it sounds. And once you've had your fill of history, it's time to refuel. And what better way to do that than with some traditional Swiss food? We're talking cheesy fondue, hearty rosti, and enough chocolate to satisfy your sweetest cravings. So yeah, Zurich. It's a city that seamlessly blends old-world charm with modern sophistication. It's a place where you can wander through cobblestone streets lined with medieval architecture, then party the night away in a cutting-edge nightclub. It's a city that truly has it all. Alright Zermatt, this place is like Switzerland turned up to 11. We're talking next-level scenery, charming car-free streets, and a mountain so iconic it's basically a celebrity. Yeah, I'm talking about the Matterhorn. Imagine this. You wake up, open your window, and bam, there it is, the Matterhorn in all its snow-capped glory. It's enough to make you want to grab your camera and start snapping pics like a tourist on a sugar rush. But hey, who could blame you? This place is seriously picture-perfect. But Zermatt's not just about looks, alright? This town is an outdoor enthusiast's paradise. We're talking world-class skiing in the winter, epic hiking trails in the summer, and enough fresh mountain air to clear your lungs and invigorate your soul. And the best part? Getting to Zermatt is an adventure in itself. Forget about your gas-guzzling cars, folks. The only way in is by train, and trust me, this ain't your grandma's Amtrak. We're talking a scenic journey through the Swiss Alps, complete with panoramic views and maybe even a yodeling conductor. Just kidding about the yodeling. Or am I? Now let's talk about the Matterhorn for a second. This mountain is the real deal, folks. It's like the Beyoncé of mountains, instantly recognizable, breathtakingly beautiful, and with a presence that commands your attention. And trust me, you'll want to give it your full attention. Whether you're an experienced climber tackling its slopes or just an admirer gazing up in awe, the Matterhorn is an experience you won't soon forget. Just try not to get too starstruck, alright? But hey, if climbing a mountain isn't your idea of a good time, don't worry. Zermatt has plenty of other ways to get your adrenaline pumping. We're talking paragliding, mountain biking, even summer skiing if you're feeling really adventurous. And after a long day of exploring, there's nothing better than settling into a cozy restaurant, indulging in some delicious Swiss cuisine, and reliving all the epic moments of your day. So yeah, Zermatt, it's a place where adventure meets luxury, where stunning natural beauty collides with world-class amenities. It's a place that will stay with you long after you've said goodbye. Alright guys, buckle up because we're about to enter the land of giants. This place is basically Switzerland on steroids. Massive mountains, glaciers carved by Thor, and views that no picture can do justice. Seriously, this place is straight out of a fairy tale. 4 charming towns, Grindelwald, Mürren, Lauterbrunnen, and Wengen. Hiking, biking, skiing, this place has it all. And the best part, you're surrounded by insane beauty the whole time. It's like Mother Nature's most epic playground. The Jungfrau region has something for everyone. Trust me, you'll be snapping photos like a tourist on a sugar rush. The real magic? The feeling you get when you're here. Fresh mountain air, cowbells, and breathtaking views best enjoyed without a screen. Alright amigos, pack your swim trunks and your appetite for pasta, because we're heading south to Lugano. This place is like Switzerland's love letter to Italy. Think palm trees, sparkling blue waters, and a vibe that's just a little bit sexier than the rest of Switzerland. Don't get me wrong, I love a good snow-capped mountain, but sometimes you just need a little dolce vita in your life, and trust me, Lugano delivers. We're talking cobblestone streets lined with cafes, colorful buildings that look like they were plucked straight out of a Renaissance painting, and a lakefront promenade that's practically begging you to take a leisurely stroll. This is the kind of place where you can easily lose track of time, sipping espresso, people watching, and just soaking up the Mediterranean vibes. But Lugano isn't just about relaxing. This place also knows how to party. We're talking lively bars, clubs that go all night, and a summer festival scene that'll make you want to book a one-way ticket. And if you're feeling lucky, you can always try your luck at the casino. Just remember, what happens in Lugano stays in Lugano. Now, no trip to Lugano is complete without spending some quality time on Lake Lugano. This isn't just any lake, people. This is a body of water so beautiful, it makes you want to write poetry, learn to play the mandolin, or at least take a really epic selfie. You can rent a boat, go for a swim, or just find a sunny spot on the shore and work on your tan. And speaking of beautiful things, Lugano is also a bit of a celebrity hotspot. George Clooney has a place here, and he's not the only one. So keep your eyes peeled, you never know who you might spot sipping a cappuccino at the next table. But whatever you do, play it cool. No screaming, no selfies, just act like you see George Clooney buying groceries every day. But honestly, the real stars of Lugano are the food and the atmosphere. We're talking fresh pasta, creamy risotto, and pizza that'll make you want to book a flight to Naples. And the best part? It's all served up with a side of Italian charm that you just can't find anywhere else. Alright folks, get ready to be blinded by beauty because we're about to dive into Lake Geneva. And I'm not talking about some murky pond, I'm talking about a body of water so big, so blue, so freaking majestic, it'll make you question your entire existence. Seriously, this lake is basically Switzerland's version of the Pacific Ocean. Now, I know what you're thinking, Casey, it's just a lake, but Lake Geneva is so much more than that. It's a vibe, it's a lifestyle, it's a place where time slows down, the air smells like fresh croissants and sunscreen. And the only thing on your to-do list is deciding whether to go for a swim, rent a paddle boat, or just sit back with a glass of local wine and soak up the views. And speaking of views, Lake Geneva is surrounded by some of the most picturesque towns and villages you'll ever see. We're talking cobblestone streets, flower boxes overflowing with geraniums, and buildings so charming they look like they were designed by Disney animators. Trust me, you'll be snapping photos like a madman. But Lake Geneva isn't just about pretty scenery, it's also a haven for foodies and wine lovers. We're talking vineyards that stretch as far as the eye can see, producing some of the most delicious and underrated wines in the world. Seriously, forget Napa Valley, Lake Geneva is where it's at. So grab a bottle of chasselas, find a sunny spot by the lake, and get ready to experience what the Swiss call joie de vivre. And while you're at it, why not pair that wine with some local cheese, charcuterie, and freshly baked bread? I'm talking about a picnic so good it'll make you want to sell all your possessions and become a Swiss shepherd. But the real beauty of Lake Geneva? It's the diversity. You can go from exploring medieval castles to hiking in the Alps to chilling on a lakeside beach all in one day. It's like someone took all the best parts of Europe and crammed them into one convenient location. Alright guys, we're talking Lucerne. This place is like the love child of a history book and a travel magazine. Yeah, it's picturesque. First up, the Chapel Bridge. This thing is iconic. Imagine this. You're strolling across this wooden bridge, the Reuss River flowing beneath you, and all around you are these colorful, pointy-roofed buildings. It's like walking through a storybook. But here's the kicker. This bridge dates back to the 14th century. Yeah, you heard that right. This isn't some Disney replica, this is the real deal. And as if that wasn't enough, inside the bridge, they've got these paintings, over 100 of them, depicting scenes from Lucerne's history. Talk about a walk through time, right? It's seriously cool. Now, across the bridge, you've got to check out the water tower. It's this octagonal tower that looks like it's guarding the city. They've used it for everything over the years. A prison, a torture chamber, a treasury, even a tourist information center. Yeah, talk about a career change. But hey, that's Lucerne for you. A city full of surprises. Okay, so we've covered history, but let's talk about the scenery. Lucerne is surrounded by mountains, and I'm not talking about your average hills. These are the kind of mountains that make you want to break out in yodeling. You can hike them, bike them, or just stare at them in awe. Whatever floats your boat. Personally, I'm a big fan of cable cars. You just hop in, sit back, and let the mountains do the entertaining. Plus, it's way less sweaty than hiking, and you know me, I'm all about efficiency. Now all this exploring is gonna make you hungry, and trust me, Lucerne does not disappoint. You've gotta try their specialty, Luzerner Trügele. It's this flaky puff pastry filled with veal, mushrooms, and a rich creamy sauce. It's like a warm hug for your stomach. Seriously, this thing is so good it should be illegal, so there you have it, Lucerne. A city of bridges, mountains, history, and food comas. What's not to love? Welcome to Bern, the capital of Switzerland. This city is a straight-up time machine. Cobblestone streets, medieval fountains, and ancient buildings. The architecture is stunning. Sandstone buildings, arched walkways, and red-tiled roofs. It's like a movie set, but real. The heart of Bern is the Zittglocke, a 13th century clock tower. It's a whole production. Every hour mechanical figures put on a show. It's more entertaining than your Twitter feed. Soak up the history. And meet the locals. By locals, I mean bears. Yes, bears. The founder named the city after the first animal he hunted. It was a bear. They've embraced it ever since. Bears roam in the city center. Don't get too close. They're still wild animals. Admire from a distance, trust me. But bears aren't the only charm. The people are friendly and the vibe is laid back. Spend hours wandering, soaking up the atmosphere. Slow down, appreciate the little things, and maybe learn some history. You might even make a new furry friend. Alright, Globetrotters, that's a wrap. We've scaled mountains, figuratively of course, unless you actually went hiking. We've crossed centuries-old bridges, and we've eaten enough cheese to make a lactose-intolerant person faint. Switzerland, you've outdone yourself. From the adrenaline rush of Interlaken to the medieval charm of Bern, this country is a buffet for the senses. And hey, if you're anything like me, you're probably already planning your next trip back. Because let's be real, one trip is never enough. So if you're already packing your bags and polishing your yodeling skills, hit that subscribe button like it's the last piece of Toblerone in the world, and let me know in the comments down below, which Swiss spot stole your heart. Until next time, stay curious, stay adventurous, and most importantly, stay cheesy.